Okay, all right, we're going to go through yearbook guidelines real quick. This is one of my favorite parts because you get to have fun with this. Is this thing on? Am I speaking loud enough? Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay.
There you go. Yeah,
Anyway,
don't wave it. They
we need to
can't
get
hear
one
you
of
right.
those lavaliers or whatever they call it.
Well, it's not one.
I've been on the yearbook judging team for like the last 5 years. It's fun, and I get to go. Oh, cool! What were you doing? What I think is most awesome are just the many various ideas of colors. That's what's really cool because a lot of them will have similar pictures inside. Okay, because we're all taking pictures of fellowship and the service and our inductions and stuff. And not a lot of that is different from one chapter to the next.
Chapter to the next.
But this is where you're really creative right here, all the covers. Deb's going to show you a couple of them from a couple, 2 years ago and 1 year ago, last year.
This was the runner-up 2 years ago, and then this one is the winner last year.
Yeah, they're both Northlake. One that didn't make it here today that we really wanted to show you was from Mountain View. That was the one last year that had their lion, the lion's head painted on it. It was gorgeous. They had layered it up and painted, so it was like almost 3 days. The cover is what can make or break you. That's one of the items that can make or break you because you have to have all of this information on the cover. And if you miss any of them, that's a point gone right off the bat. The cover is what starts everything off. That's kind of what makes or breaks the thing because people go, okay. Or, ooh, you know. You want that ooh factor because honestly, part of the thing here, right here, what? Creates, oh wow. Creates sufficient viewer interest. We are in the process of redoing the rubrics because some of it is kind of vague. All right, create sufficient viewer interest for to whom and for what. But at this point in time, it's still in there. It's kind of a vague, kind of a gray area. But we had
last year. Well, last year we had one book. It did not win like top scorers and stuff like that. But when we saw it, all three of us in that judging room, we were like, I can't wait to look at this one. If any of you saw, how many of you got to see the books last year? For those of you who did, if you remember, it was the really, really big one, and it had the 5 element or the 4 elements, and then like the heart in the middle type of thing, and it was lit. It was so cool. And then it kind of fell apart in the middle, but the cover was just, oh my gosh, it was beautiful. And we were all just like, oh, I cannot wait to look in this book.
And so, as he was talking about the cover, the cover starts your theme, because your whole yearbook has to have a theme. And so, the cover is what tells you what the theme is.
Right, it is. Now, so you'll know the cover does not have to be anything specific. A million years ago, it used to have. I think it used to have to reflect the honors topic for the year when we only did it 1 year at a time. It can be anything now, but you have to be able to understand it. You have to be able to see it. It has to have it. The title of the yearbook. This one is "We Are the World. We Are Alpha, Zeta, Eta." Okay, that's the title.
They were a very diverse chapter at that time. They had a lot of international students, so they're like, hey, that's our theme. And so that's what they did.
Name of the chapter, Alpha Zeta Eta, is already on there. Name of the school, Northlake College. City and state of the school, Irving, Texas. The dates of the school year, and of course that's our Phi Theta Kappa year, so this one's 2011, 2012. Creates sufficient viewer interest. Well, yeah, this is kind of interesting. It's colorful. For me, it's like, ooh, colors and shiny. We're good. We're golden. And inspires exploration. It's still got lots of colors and it's shiny. Let's go. And the one that Candace was talking about, in fact, we loved it so much. Jack, to answer your unasked question about it fell apart. It didn't fall apart literally. It didn't have the content that was required. It only ranked about half the points it should have gotten.
Oh, it's just beautiful.
It didn't have enough content. Yes, ma'am.
It has to be a hard copy because, in today's day and age, you can be really cool photo albums online.
We'll get into that.
we're gonna address that because last year was the first year for a digital yearbook.
Since our college district is a county college district, would county and state be okay as opposed to city and state?
You could, because you're,
We have 3 cities we could put.
yes, and many have that, but where's your president located? McKinney, right? So just McKinney, Texas.
Yeah, okay.
Wherever your main college president sits, put that city. That's generally, or you can pick one, it doesn't matter. I think Houston, they probably have 20 different cities around here as well that they have campuses in. I know Austin is similar where they're Round Rock and everywhere, and they just pick one.
Okay.
Scroll up to the next batch. I don't know how these things work. Carved in stone when I started doing this. Okay, comprehensive content. Everything that's inside of it. That comprehensive, everything that makes the yearbook, from the front cover to the back cover, comprehensive, whatever that word is, content. The unity of theme. Pick a theme, stick with it. Now, this one has hands on the cover, so I expect hands inside. Hands on the border. See, border hand. This will cost a few times if you lose your theme. We had a few last year that lost a great many points because they didn't continue the theme, or the theme was so vague we couldn't follow it. We're like, oh, this is what they, oh, hold it, halfway through we've changed it up. Well, that's not the theme that they started off with. Well, it's a different thing. We can't do that. Don't change things on me, I'm crazy. Michelle.
Can we, somewhere on the book, explain or the theme, or do you have to kind of get it?
That's where it talks about in here.
Yeah. Oh, it's in here. It's in here. Preamble, the very beginning.
Here's why we did what we did, and here's what we're doing for the year.
Preamble.
Now, when you get into this thing, we have the rubrics, and it's available online, and we're going to send it to you also. It kind of bounces back and forth, and that's why we really want to change some of the judging criteria so we can change the rubric to go from the cover to the back, because part of it is like, here's the cover, okay, here's the pages, well, here's the preamble, well, here's, you know, it goes, but it's back and forth, and it's really hard for us to judge that way, but we have to judge that way because this is the rubric that has been approved. So we're trying to make some changes, and we have to get it to not the who?
It has to go to the yearbook committee,
Yep.
regional yearbook committee.
Right. So it's going to be approved for everyone's.
This year, this is what you're using.
Okay. Dedication. If you're going to dedicate it, thank you Northlake for dedicating this one to Dr. Mary Hood. It's in here somewhere, right here.
It's the first page, first real actual page.
Right. When we did the Hallmark leadership thing last year before last, in Athens, okay, we had just
No, it was the one in Austin.
Austin.
Yeah. Austin.
Okay. And I get very emotional. I'm still very emotional. I knew Mary. Mary was, when Mary became, Dr. Mary Hood, when she became our district coordinator, I was her first District 2 vice president. Okay. And so I grew up with her. And she passed away.
Yes.
And that year I told everybody, I said, and this is a free point, by the way. This is an option. Why would you not take this simple option and get this point? This one page has made the difference between first place and second place. It's a free point. There are 2 free points on this rubric. Take them. It's an extra page. Ooh, 5 seconds worth of work. And I told these guys, I said, if you turn in a yearbook this year and I'm judging and you do not have a dedication page on there to Dr. Hood, I'm going to hunt you down and kill you.
And they did.
And 2 chapters did. And so on the judge's form, every single one of those where I did not check off the dedication page, I wrote underneath, I kill you. I did. And some people are coming back going, oh, what was it? You're dead to me. You're dead. So it's a free point. When you get back in here where it shows the points, the point value for everything, and this thing is crazy. There's a couple of things in here, again, while we want to change some of the rubrics, there's 2 or 3 things in here that are in there 2 or 3 times. So if you miss this one thing, 3 points. It's like the page numbers or something silly like that. It's in 3 different spots. Michelle.
Sorry.
That's okay.
That's
Okay.
So on the dedication part, do you have to dedicate to someone or whatever that fits the theme as well?
No.
No.
It doesn't matter.
You can dedicate it. A good one.
Dedicated to your dog.
No.
Campus.
Make sure
It
as long
can-
as
If
you're
it's a
beginning.
requirement, then.
Right.
As long as all of you guys who are putting the thing together agree upon it, the chapter agrees upon it, you can dedicate it to a past loved one. It could be to your chapter president, money.
For
the support. College president, what did I say? Chapter president, yeah, we don't like those guys.
Delegated to a
Your college president for the support. Your advisor, okay, your advisors aren't paid to do this, guys, okay? This is something I've been harping on for 25 years. Your advisors are completely voluntary. They don't get anything here. A lot of them have to pay for their own travel and stuff like that. Not all of them, but some of them do.
This
Use
one-
the dedication page.
This one was dedicated to a past member who passed away, and so they dedicated it to her. Because it was the first year that she passed away. Same thing with the first year of the yearbook that Mary Hood passed away. So just stuff like that.
Sure.
Fully established.
Okay.
Fully
Question over here?
Before,
It's the very first thing if you do it.
And look
That's-
at,
wait,
look,
not the very first thing.
Well,
Danny, top right.
top right, proper order title page, dedication page if applicable, preamble, table of contents.
So that's the order that they have to go with.
Yeah, title page.
And then,
Dedication.
then it starts showing your division pages, which are the 4 hallmarks, in proper order. You're gonna get a copy of the rubrics. You might wanna go over it 2 or 3 times to make sure you know what you're doing before you start actually gluing pages together. Okay? But come up with a cool theme. This one over here with Blaze threw us. We had to come back to it twice last year because we're like, something's wrong with this thing. There's something very right, but there's something very wrong. Don't make it so obscure that we can't figure it out, because this one almost lost out. Because it's a clear cover, but it has all the requirements. And then you open it, and you're
Title
like,
page.
okay, what is this silly thing? And we're looking at the masking tape, and we're looking at the screw, and we're like, what is this? And Candace's like, well, maybe it tore.
No,
Okay, if
I
it-
didn't say that.
Somebody
Brenda did.
Brenda, if it tore in transit, I know good and
It's not
well,
durable.
Northlake is gonna get some black electrical tape or something for this thing. And then we finally figured it out. Yeah, Jack figured it out. See, Jack's smarter than the group. He's too smart for the group. It's glasses.
It's Blaze's glasses, it's their mascot's
They're nerd glasses.
Oh.
Yeah, they took an awful risk on this.
But
Awfully big
another
risk.
point with that is also is to carry out your theme fully.
They did.
And yeah, well, I meant to even go above and beyond. And then also, when you need to do that, you need to start early
Yeah.
and start so you can have enough time to fully vet your idea and do extra things. Like they could have did the back. They could have added glasses to the inside to actually fully vet the idea of the glasses.
And that would have made it a lot easier
A lot
for us
easier than
to
what it
figure
did
it
they
out.
want to be rescued.
Yeah, because
But
once
they
we
ran
finally
out of
snapped, I forget who it was. Somebody said,
It was me.
what's the glasses? I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
they're Blaze's
I finally
glasses.
figured it out.
That's nerd tape for here. That's the screw in the side of the sunglasses for the armature. And like, hey, I've still got to change my score now. Because it's like, this is unclear. You are so, oh, I'm sorry, that's my bad. Hang on. Anybody got some white out? Because I reamed the thing. But divisions and events clearly labeled. Again, folks, that's the 4 hallmarks for your 4 divisions. And if they're not in order, well, we're just going to shoot you. I can kill you.
Or we have one of 2 options. You can either do the Hallmark order of scholarship, leadership, service, fellowship, or you can do honors and action, college project, and then other sections, okay? And some of the groups actually did both. We had some of them do both, where they did their honors and action project, then their college project, and then the Hallmark sections to incorporate everything else that their chapter did. So you can kind of do a combination of any of those.
Don't make it too difficult on the simple people.
But
Candace,
then
is
again,
there
your
an order
division
to go on?
pages have to follow.
Not
the theme.
necessarily, not if they choose honors and action
So
college
this
project.
theme was all nerdiness,
Just
so
the
they did
thing
contractors
Hallmark.
and glasses and,
Embrace your inner nerd.
yes,
Yes.
books. And they also had, each theme had a color. So you
Make it
knew
simple.
what color.
Make it simple. When you open up division with blue, everything's blue. Okay. Title page included as the first page. Yearbook accurately reflects the chapter's history for the last year. And of course, if you're taking pictures, it's going to. Page numbers. This is something we always have a problem with. The page number is clearly labeled for each division and event. Now, some people, they label the very first page. The very first page has a 1 on it.
No.
That's acceptable for a judge because it says, is each page numbered? Or you can go by the way we do like a textbook.
Use
The first
textbook.
page or two really has nothing.
That
And
funky
another,
Roman
they have the little
numeral.
Roman numerals that were like, okay, what's I? On. So pick a thing, pick one and go with it, stick with it.
And they also, they had other pages in here that were blank and other things. They labeled those pages. They didn't have technically content, but they were space fillers. So, because they said label, they said number every page. So they numbered every page.
Here. Acknowledgements are in the closing section. This is another one where you can thank people. You can dedicate it to somebody, and then on the rubrics, which you'll see here in a little bit, it's worth another point because it says optional. So if you have a dedication to somebody, it's like, hey,
Thanks.
you really did this, you supported us, you're wonderful, you're
Thanks,
fantastic, and then thanks for whomever. Our parents for understanding why we're never home, or my wife, my children, my significant other, my dog who doesn't even recognize me anymore, things like that.
Yeah, plus they think the alumni and advisors, but
Awesome. Okay. So this here is just an overall of everything.
Okay.
Oh, there's the second one. Okay. Now this is what Candace was talking about a second ago: honors and action and college project, or each of the hallmarks. Again, your hallmarks. Hallmarks, if selected, are in order. We know the order now, right? Scholarship, leadership, service, social. Okay. Dedications in the first. Let's see, this goes over a few things twice. Okay. Each division has a cover page, which Deb showed you. The blue is yellow, the red, the green. Divisions follow the theme. Acknowledgement, closing, applicable but not required, but it's an extra point. Copy. Okay. Anybody know what copy is? No, not that guy beside you in class so you get a better grade. Don't do that. When you have your photos, and they're good photos for the most part, put a little tag underneath here, and this tag cannot say
People.
officers enjoying fun.
okay. So,
Go ahead.
because I know people who judge us have short attention span and they also like just reading things or interesting things, make the captions interesting. Just don't say, this person was doing this. Make it somewhat interesting, but also have information in there. People, places, what they're doing. Throw something random in there. I don't know. Just do something interesting.
Now
Also-
you can have a group photo, and you can't necessarily, especially if you're with another
Well,
chapter, you're not
you
going to
can
know
say
all
the
24
chapter.
people. Say, President or Presidents Clinton and Nathan fellowshipping with members from Northlake at Hallmark workshops. Okay.
And not all of them have to be interesting, but just give them a tidbit. Also, when they're talking about copy, headers, they also have to have like the page,
Body copy.
what they're doing,
Body copy.
the event, the date. Yes, that's a letter.
It works out a lot better if you go ahead and print it out and cut it out, because some people think they have fancy handwriting. If you're like me, chickens look at you and go, I can do better than that.
Yeah.
Okay? And some people have that really elegant calligraphy looking stuff. Like, I'm sorry, I'm old.
It's hard to read.
I'm old, but I'm not old English. I can't read that stuff.
Takes less time to type it out, too.
I can only hold the book so far away. Because I'm almost as old as you.
Yeah.
Love you. Okay, presentation. Construction of the yearbook is, we always have one. We are, besides the 3 to 5 judges that are going to look at your yearbook, we're going to open it up several many times.
So this is
It is-
this is 2 years old. Look, it's still functioning.
It is open for people to look at, and you can have 10 to 100 people want to look at your yearbook because you have such a cool theme on the cover. It invites exploration. So
It's still.
it has to be sturdy. When we open this thing up and pages go, that's not sturdy.
We've also had some books that will have some fancy little somethings on the cover,
Glued.
glued on the cover, and when we open it, there's a piece that'll fly off. Even just that little piece flying off means it's not durable. So make absolutely sure whatever you put on there is not going to come off during that open-close stuff. We've also had some where they had so many pages in here that the back was just barely hanging on, and when someone picked it up to move it to another spot, the whole thing went. Of course, we had a page number, so we were able to put it back together, but that made it less durable.
Your book.
Yeah. Well, no, that's just a one
That's 3 points.
That's not even,
That's not
wasn't in
y'all's,
your book.
yeah.
That wasn't even in the.
But yeah, you should be able to take it and literally hold it upside down, nothing falls out. And we have had some books that not so sturdy on that point. If you choose to do one of those kind of like Shutterfly books where you send off and you have them put it together and they're bound, those are great, but we'll get to those in just a minute.
What else? There, see, look, page numbered again. It's in there again. We're gonna try to eliminate this double standards, well, not double standard, but double entry or whatever, anyway.
Oh.
Okay, this is part of the rubric. This is, and I don't want to use that word. Can we call it a?
Requirements.
This is your checklist.
Yeah,
That's what
checklist.
gets the points.
Right. These are the points. Unity of theme. So again, you start off with handprints and stuff, talking about your hands around the world, blah, blah, blah.
Symbols, also symbols for each of the hallmarks, or a symbol for your HRA and a symbol for your Republican and something else. Symbols with colors. They do symbols and titles, like the world. So the book was a world, and this one, I think this one was a light bulb was a world, a tree was a world for service, because they did a lot of service stuff. Fellowship was a heart was the world, and so they had a world and the handprints in different shapes for each of the.
Okay, look here again. Proper order, title page, dedication page, optional preamble, and table contents box. That's in there again. So if you don't have that in order the first time, you probably still don't have it in order the second time. There's another point gone. Continuity of the theme, like she was just showing you. Quality of design and creativity. That's kind of subjective,
Talk about your book.
but if it's in there, we're good.
Talk about your Shutterfly book, that's fine.
The Shutterfly books are awesome. Now that you can do them inexpensively, I know that Blend, way back in the Wayback Times, used to have theirs professionally published before Shutterfly and stuff came around, well, before the internet. Cost them about $1,000. But they'd have a yearbook look like a high school. It was awesome. Very awesome.
And so,
Interest of the theme, again,
Hold on the design and creativity, I will say this. We do have some judges that prefer the traditional scrapbook-looking
there's
yearbooks.
also two ways to do traditional scrapbooks too.
Yes.
One is completely scrapbook, I mean, everything scrapbook, borders, themes, all hand cut, different things. And then this one is a combination of added on stuff and pre-printed stuff, like the borders, the captions, this stuff, the title pages, like the preamble, the division pages, all those are digitally produced and then printed. And so it's a kind of combination of a traditional scrapbook with hints of digital, and so it's a happy medium.
The Shutterfly books, some of the judges don't like them. I'm not saying that they won't win, but I will tell you this. You need to be extremely creative if you're planning on doing one of those types of books.
No uploading, picking a theme and uploading pictures and saying, hey, we're done, that's it.
Yeah, we had quite a few that have done that in the past, and they do not score well on the creativity or the theme. However, I will say this, last year, the tie for second place was one of those types of books. And it was because their theme was so creative throughout the entire book. For those of you who didn't get a chance to see it, it was the one with the penguins. It was the one with the penguins from Mount Pleasant, Northeast Texas Community College. And theirs was had these penguins, and the whole theme of these penguins in Texas, it was really quite funny. And the penguins for the scholarship, they had actually chosen it and created the design for the pictures in the book of the penguins as well. It wasn't just one of these pre-done things. And one of them had the penguin sitting at a desk learning. because that's about scholarship. And that was their theme for the scholarship section. One for their service, the Penguins had like brooms, and one of them was doing something in a garden, and you could see what they were doing. It had to do pertain to service. Another, the leadership one, they were up like on a podium giving a speech and stuff like that. So they were very, very creative in the way that they did their book. It wasn't just one of those, here's our pictures, here's the upload, yes, let's edit it, that kind of thing. Another type of book that hasn't done so well is if it actually looks like a high school yearbook. You're past high school, get done with that. So those of you who were on your yearbook teams in high school, yay! But that's not really what they're looking for, okay? So just warning on those kinds of things. You can use the Shutterfly books, and they're very durable. And I'm not just using that particular company, any type of book like that. I know that Austin has done some really good books that are those kind of digital books, the printed, all of them done, but they were done in-house, page by page, very specific what was on each page, not just an upload, all right? One thing we failed to mention on the title page, at the very beginning of the book, if you look at a title page of a textbook, it repeats all of the information pretty much that's on the cover. Talks about where it was, you know, the name of the book, what it was about, where it was published, all that kind of stuff. You're going to do the same thing on the title page. We had a couple of chapters last year that kind of missed the content on the title page, and that's a lot of points that you can miss on that one. So just so you understand the difference between those kind of Shutterfly type of books, we do have some judges that's not their preference, unless you're extremely creative with them, and they've given them very high points. So
Yes, because this one has the title, all that stuff in here, and then it's also in here, exact same information. It might not look the same completely, but it has the exact same information on the cover and then the title page.
Over here, the only one that I can see that's oddball is appropriateness.
yeah.
That's subjective. I guess as long as it's not inappropriate, you're going to get the point. Okay. Okay. Here's
If
the
you
stuff we
have
already
these
talked
things,
about.
it's a checkpoint. That means you get the full amount of points.
Yeah. Dedication. This is what we spoke of. This is that we spoke of this earlier. These are the actual sheets that we use. Hallmarks represented. That's on there again. See, division pages, and each division has a what cover page. Again, the one she showed earlier: the blue, the yellow, the red. My favorite part right here, copy, because I really want to. I'm nosy. I want to know what you guys are doing. Why are these people wearing farmers' out clothes? Why are they milking a cow? What's that all about?
Title.
Yeah. Event has a headline. So, hey, yeah, we know what the event was. Description or names of the individuals. We know what they're doing at that event and who they are. Can I read it? Because I've got those over 40 eyes. Almost 50. Each event is explained. We know what's going on here. Why are we milking cows? Well, golly, it ended up being a fundraiser. That's cool. 4 points. Presentation. Construction yearbook. Sturdy. Theme. Again. Each page number. Again. Okay.
So, yeah, follow all the, read
Read the rubrics, follow the rubrics to T. That's how you win, plus your creativity. When he's also talking about comprehensive content, include other things besides pictures sometimes, which is hard to do with the Shutterfly books, but it can happen with Shutterfly books. It's just importing pictures of documents.
This could go inside your yearbook because you were here this year. If you were at Lee College's induction last night, put in their program.
Like they did letters and things, surveys. They included their surveys in their honors and action for scholarship.
Yeah.
Surveys and thank you letters and stuff like that.
Now, this part right here we fought for. It took 2 years, but we finally got it. This is the only thing that is not subjective. This is objective, and this is our opinion as judge, because we had some books that followed the rubrics, black and white. We've got this, we've got this, we've got this. Yeah, it's boring, but it's got all the points, and it would win. When you've got another one that's a couple of points lower on the spectrum, but it was an awesome book. It was very creative. St. Philip's who was dead in the water for years. I've been involved, I didn't tell you, I inducted in '89. Hey, I'd never heard of St. Philip's College before. 3 years ago.
3
3 years
we got
ago,
Phoenix book.
they had a yearbook that was awesome. The cover was like exploration. Yeah, I want to go spelunking in this book. It had a phoenix on there. It had giant feathers coming, on the book. It was very sturdy, but it had big red feathers that had a fire. I'm just doing this, I'm sorry. I'm Italian, leave me alone. Rising from the ashes. Everybody knows, I believe, I hope college students know about the story of the phoenix. You know, burns, reborn. This yearbook was awesome.
That was the story of their chapter.
It was beautiful. Yeah, their chapter, Dead in the Water, came to life that year, 5-star, I think. Awesome. That year they won. The year after, that Candace was talking about, I think about later, they did one that was kind of Shutterfly-looking book. It was that digitally printed, whatever. All of their, and they beat us by 2 years. Everybody in it was a superhero. I'm supervisor person thing. You know, they had their heads on superhero bodies. So it was basically a giant comic book. It was awesome. Came in second place.
No, that one came in first.
That one came in first also? 2 years in a row?
Came.
Phoenix came in first, didn't it?
Phoenix came in second. That's
Second.
why
I
we were
think the
saying.
comic book was against this one. This one came in second.
Okay, so it was zero. So awesomeness. So that's why we wanted this. We said, okay, look, they need extra points for being super duper cool and keeping me interested.
Not just him.
But it's mostly me, because when I'm not interested, I start flitting around the room and messing up with stuff. Now, two, that yearbook that Candace was speaking of earlier, that had the 4 elements and the lights and stuff like that, we loved it so much, although it wasn't even anywhere near the running. We told Deb it's got to get something. So she had a special thing made for them last year. They got a creativity award because the book was so awesome. The pages were wonderful. Content, but it's because they didn't have enough stuff in it.
It wasn't poor content, but just not enough.
And I did have to talk about the ledge last year also, because she was at a scrapbook club, and she did not and she was upset that they didn't get anywhere near the top. They didn't get any points for the cover at all because their cover was blank. In traditional scrapbooking, you don't put anything on the cover apparently. And she was upset. And she goes, "But I do this for a living. I make scrapbooks for people, and they want awards." I'm like, "Sorry, Sparky, but you didn't read the book. You got to read the rules." It says cover.
Has covers.
And so I explained it to her so she didn't shoot me or herself. So read the thing and do what it says. If you have questions, give us a call, golly, email, something.
One last comment about pictures and stuff like that. Take interesting pictures too, not just all post pictures, but action pictures.
Yes,
Pictures that-
Nathan, she's talking to you.
You guys doing, you presenting, you guys planting trees, if that's what you're doing, picking up trash, not just standing by a sign all the time.
Yes,
those are
question.
good.
Yes, question.
Can we look at the,
Yes, during the next break, we will have these for you guys to look at. We're already running behind. We have 2 chatterboxes for your book. I need to cover digital books really quickly for you guys. I need to cover digital books real quick for you. On the digital books, we had 1 entry on the digital book last year. And I have to admit, now, we did find out, no, you cannot enter a hard book and a digital book. You get 1 choice, that's it. All right, so when you submit your cover sheets for your Hallmark Awards to the region, you will choose either the digital book or the hard book if you're doing the yearbook. With the digital books, we don't need hours and hours of video in them. All right? And we've debated back and forth with this one. The book that we had turned in last year, it had about 6 pages we flipped through. Lots of pictures, it had all the content. And we used the exact same rubric for a digital book that we use for a hard book, which makes it much more difficult to judge those digital books because they don't quite fit exactly the mold, all right? So it does make them quite difficult. However, we kept thinking, oh my goodness, what happens if we get a book like Tyler? Tyler's when they bring a book, it's like this thick, right? So we were thinking, well, how do we judge a book that has 6 pages versus a book that has 500 pages. Because it's a digital book, you can put everything in there. The catch is we still have to judge it within a certain amount of time. All right, so just use your better judgment on that. If you want to upload a video, that's fine, you can. Please make it very short, brief, and actually have a point to it.
It needs to be embedded.
Yeah.
Okay.
It has to be embedded into the program. You are also responsible for bringing your own laptop, connectors, anything that you need to make it work, and some kind of direction sheet for some judges who are not so computer friendly. Okay, yeah, they're all looking at Danny.
Because I will break it trying to open it. How's this thing open?
It needs to be very clear on how to navigate through the book pages if you do a digital book. And the one that we had this last year was not a problem. You went down to the bottom and it had an arrow going that way or an arrow going that way. It was really easy to follow.
I got confused.
Right? If you have the pictures, make absolutely sure that every one of them, just like the hard books, all the pictures still need to be labeled, just like the other books would, that we're grading in the hard books as well. The digital books, they must be self-contained, as in do not expect to use any internet. We will not have internet in that room, and so if your program requires you to, like if we click the link and it's supposed to go somewhere online, like to YouTube, it won't work. Make absolutely sure that it is totally self-contained on your book, on your computer, whatever you use. Also, the problem that we seemed to have last year was sound. This particular book had sound. I knew what the sound was, and it went with their background, and it was the Good Vibrations song with the Beach Boys, and their background vibrated in the back. They actually wrote the program to make it do this. It was a really cool book as far as that's concerned. The problem is the music wasn't working. And the whole creativity of the theme kind of got lost because we saw this wiggly screen, but we couldn't figure out what it went with.
But it was
I knew
so
only
pretty.
because it was my chapter's book. But I couldn't tell them that because that wouldn't have been fair. All right. Luckily, it was the only book, so we were able to really sit down and rip it apart to say, okay, we really want to look at this. We really want to see this kind of thing in a book. Clear, crisp pictures, bright colors. That's something else that we had trouble with. The screen somehow is a little dark. And so in the room where we were located, we also had it was some funky lighting up top. So there was a funky glare on the computer. We kept having to wiggle it back and forth, and the colors that were embedded into that particular program, it was difficult to see the background. So you need to really pay attention to those kinds of things if you're planning on doing a digital book. They're great to have. Are they durable? Oh yeah. Okay, we're not going to grade you on how new your computer is. Okay, we're not going to grade you on does the mouse stay put, not like that. But those books you can keep, forever. You can put them on some kind of media, upload them on a Google Doc. Who knows? There are all kinds of sky drives out there at this point in time. But make sure everything is completely self-contained on the computer. That's probably the biggest issue that we did have last year, with it all being self-contained on that book. All right. Any questions on the digital books? I'd love to see all of them on digital. I love that. You do have to provide your own laptop. Now, they will be locked and secured into a room to where when you leave them with the judges, they are locked up, safe, secure. They will be kept in that room as well. Same with your regular books. And then we have a time for viewing. There will be alumni in that room making sure that the laptops stay exactly where we have put them, or basically where you have put them. We don't even touch them other than to change the screens and the slides. And then at the end, we have a time where you guys can come pick them up. You actually have to sign the forms saying, I'm taking this book, I'm taking this notebook, this computer with me, this is our book. So we know exactly who signed it out, what chapter they were with, the whole bit. So they are very secured in the room that we keep them in. Any other questions? Okay, we need to move on. Yeah, Everett.
You were talking about no internet. Is there going to be electricity, or is it going to be battery operated?
Usually in the rooms, because they are in meeting rooms at the hotels, we typically do have some kind of power cord where you can plug it in. And we usually do bring a couple of power strips as well, just in case. If we have a place that we can put like 4 or 5 of them, we have multiple plugs, so. Anything else?